Hi folks, Joachim here. So Ben suggested I create a short video clip for a visual I created in the Digital Life Collective. So here it goes. This is the visual, and the visual is really a composite of a couple of models that I've used here. One is over here on the left side. You see a visual from W.com that did an analysis on the different design thinking models that are out there. And they went through a process of discovery, reframing, and visioning and creating. So I thought this is a good basis for this model here for the Digital Life Collective. But what's important here, if you look at other design thinking models, the typical one from IDEO, of course, they describe a process, right? And that's very important here. This is not a categorization of a typical 2x2. So, high, low, and high, low on the bottom and on the left side. This is about a process that starts with the discovery on the lower left, goes into the reframing over here on the upper left, moves into synthesizing on the upper right, and then into a certification mode on the lower right. So it's a process, a four-step process, really. There's other models I looked at. Here's one from the one-on-one designmethods.com website, which is very interesting. It has different stopgaps and ways to traverse and really walk through this 2x2 matrix. But let's take a look at our matrix here that I created. One thing you notice, obviously, in the center is our tech. So our tech is really the stuff we want to capture, discuss, frame, synthesize, and certify in the Digital Life community. So it includes not only technology in terms of the platform, the different interfaces, the protocols that are behind it, but I think it's also more broadly speaking in terms of how it fits into the socioeconomic environment too. So these are the processes that spawn these platforms and that actually are captured by the internal ways people use the platforms. So I think that's also part of the Our Tech view here. The processes and the organizational structures also around that. I think that's an area that all falls into what do we mean by Our Tech. And if we go around the circle here, notice at the edges, there's the four labels here: use, see, and on the upper side is try and say. So each quadrant really depicts two of these properties or dimensions. So if we go to the discovery here in the lower left, there's use and there's see. So we go out there and try to find new technology, things that would fit into the Our Tech world. And how do we do this? Well, there are different models here. That's very important to see for this 2x2 here. The different ways and processes and methods really to look into each of these quadrants and say, okay, how do we discover new technology? And those can happen on two tracks here. That's why depicted by the slow track here on the outside. That could be a slow, steady process, continuous research or other ways of finding new tech. Or that could be a fast track. Someone comes to us and says, hey, this is new technology. Can you evaluate that? Can you see if that fits into your worldview of what good, positive technology is? So we would take that and then move that through our ways of finding, and then in the next stage, reframing this technology. And by reframing, I mean, how does it fit into the current landscape? There's a Phillips model up here that says, there are different ways of looking at this. There's physical and there's non-physical properties of these technologies, and they have to fit into looking at it from a different perspective of the human interface, the social impact, the legal implications, semantic ways and directions you want to take this product. So that's kind of the reframing stage where you put it into the context of what we already know and where does it fit into the landscape. And again, this is C, so still looking at this and then trying it. So the trying is we actually have to, should actively see how that product works, how the process works, right? What is behind it. So you have to get your hands on this and dive into the product. That's the idea. moving on to the synthesized quadrant, this is something where I can see there's a process, a check process behind it, where you have a list of things that you go through and say, okay, it has this property, it doesn't have the property, it has this advantage, it doesn't have the advantage, and it would fit into the hour of tech world. And last but not least, then there's a certification happening. So this is where we would say something about the product, right? Say something about the service, say something about the process, and recommend to really begin using it, right? And that's an important piece here, where there's a certification in place that says, okay, good product, it's part of our tech, let's go ahead and use it. And again, each of these quadrants here has a different set of methods, right? So it could be multiple ways of discovery. There could be Christina's beautiful way of putting charts and knowledge into Kumu charts and differentiating the different ways and different companies and different products out there and different charts. But there could be different groups also behind that. It says, okay, we tackle the slow track here and continuously look at what's on the landscape, what's coming in, what's new, and bring that to the attention of the collective. And there could be other processes behind the reframing, where it would say, okay, here's our structure, here's our process we go through, and here's how we fit it into what we already know about these kind of products that are out there. And similarly with the synthesized step and a fixed checklist, for example, could be in there, or a way to make a decision on how do we move forward. Some of Ben's stuff is very relevant here, where we can look at some participative inquiries or some ways to bring the community into this and say, hey, there's a new decision to be made about a new product. We're about to certify it. Is there anything else we want to discuss or anything we don't know about the product? That would be helpful. And that's basically it. So that's the matrix, the 2x2 for our tech in a nutshell. And thank you so much, and hope to see you again.